there's a new ad against Donald Trump and Donald Trump Jr., and it is devastating. Take a look.
The guy doesn't know what he's doing. It's gross negligence, and honestly, it's worse. It's just sheer incompetence.
I think we're going to be very good with the coronavirus. I think that at some point that's going to sort of just disappear, I hope.
The nation's death toll now tops 135,000.
There's no enthusiasm. He can't get people to show up or rally. They don't want him on the stump. Honestly, they don't even want him on a teleprompter because he can't even get that right.
They delivered a swift and swoop in, you know, that sweeping and enormous, really an enormous.
This guy is the epitome of the swamp.
President Trump's pardons. Most are white-collar criminals with personal or financial ties to the president.
Whether it's the brother, whether it's the sister, the entire family has enriched themselves.
The Chinese government awarded Ivanka 7 new trademarks.
They can say one thing, do the other, and never get called on it. It's asinine.
Damn. That's a good one. A couple of things that I would have added to that is, of course,
Mike Pounds,
as well as
tolerated.
But nonetheless, great work on that. I love that ad. So now the group that released it is called Midas Touch, and so they're a pack. So they're basically set up to not, to make sure that people don't reelect Donald Trump. And so that's what that is. They describe themselves as a next generation political organization, reimagining progressive ideals for the rapidly changing digital age. So now, I don't know much about their politics. They say they're progressive. They seem like they might be a little bit more establishment, but that's just what I get from reading about them. These are three brothers that say that they have a passion for democracy and justice, and says, we aim to not only be in the conversation, but to create the conversation. Well, mission accomplished. That was an excellent ad. And they've actually been making some devastating ads for quite some time. So now one of the brothers, Ben Midas, is a lawyer by profession, but he represented Colin Kaepernick when he sued the NFL. So, okay. Hey, Colin Kaepernick, that's great. And so another one of them is a video editor that worked for Ellen. And so, again, that's why I say a little bit more establishment, but that's fine. They're making hard-hitting ads against Donald Trump, and so I'm cool with it. So back to why the ad was great. Well, you saw it. The juxtaposition and using Donald Trump Jr.'s own words that were meant to go, of course, against Joe Biden, against Donald Trump. It's perfect. It perfectly fit his father. I mean, Donald Trump's a loser. He can't really talk. He's not a very stable genius. He's deeply corrupt. And this ad shows that, look, everything Trump Jr. is saying is basically nothing more than projection. And it's so good. And look, I may not be a big fan of Joe Biden, but seeing that Trump Jr.'s criticism weaponized and turned against his own father, good. So good. And just like the Lincoln Project, these ads are designed to get under Donald Trump's skin, pointing out how he's a loser, he's corrupt, he's failed, he's a failure, how he's grossly incompetent. Not so far as going to, as the Lincoln Project ads, saying you're weak and shaky, but really going after him on basically his job performance, which has been dismal. Not only that, but you have the presentation, of course. The quality is pretty slick. It's top notch. Donald Trump pays attention, of course, to things like presentation, right? And so if it looks good, it's going to get under his skin. It's very well produced. And that, of course, shows how well these brothers are connected and how good they are at actually making these kinds of ads. And so that's going to piss him off. It's great. So now the Trump campaign is actually aware of this. And last month, when the group started hitting the family with ads, including one that targeted Ivanka, the Trump campaign's response was that they were, quote, Trump haters. I'm not even sure how that's a pejorative at this point. Like, yeah, a lot of people hate Trump. And? But then added that they were, quote, sad, pathetic, and irrelevant. Sad. What's that? Oh, is that the sound of your approval rating that is underwater? It sounds like this. Glub, glub. 56% disapproval for President Trump. Ooh, disastrous. So now look, these have been getting a lot of views on social media. 5 million views on Twitter alone in less than 12 hours. That's pretty good. There's a hashtag that was trending that went along with the video. That trended at about number 3 on Twitter. So that definitely had to have gotten his attention. So I like this because, again, I believe in fighting fire with fire. This president is uniquely vulnerable because he's not only hasn't delivered for the American people or even his base. I mean, what have they gotten? There's no wall. I mean, look, I guess if you want to talk metaphorical, the rest of the world kind of wants to stay away from us because of coronavirus, because of how Donald Trump has botched it so badly that we kind of have a metaphorical wall around the country where less than a handful of countries now will accept our visas. And of course, if we do happen to travel to some of those countries, we have to be held in quarantine for 2 weeks. And so not exactly the warm welcome that is befitting of our station, or supposed to be anyway, as Americans. So, metaphorical wall. Good job. You built a wall around around America, and, well, you're not keeping anybody out, but you're definitely keeping a lot of us in. Fantastic. So, that said, look, he's incompetent, as I said before, in his coronavirus response. Again, all the ads have been hitting him on that. And it's because a lot of people are really, really angry. Even Republicans are very upset about the way that he has handled coronavirus. Again, 57% of Americans say that he handled it incredibly poorly. They disapprove of the job that he's done. He's flouted masks. He's told people to inject disinfectants. Yes. He's sidelined medical professionals like Dr. Fauci that happen to disagree with him. He's let Republicans and Democrats get together to enrich corporations with the CARES Act, pushed back on any efforts to accountability. I mean, just the people who had received money from the Paycheck Protection Program that they didn't necessarily need and didn't really save all that many jobs, especially considering the cost of how many billions of dollars we put into that program as Americans. It's our tax money that, by the way, we didn't really get a lot out of. It's sickening. That's the kind of corruption that Donald Trump deals with. Again, there are people, like Kanye West that received that money. I mean, why? He's incredibly wealthy. He doesn't need that tax money. We need that tax money. We should be getting a UBI. We should be having our rents canceled instead of formulating some sort of response to the coronavirus as well as the economic downturn. The Trump administration has done nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then as a cherry on top, if you want to call it that, having Nepotism Barbie come and tell us, oh, if you lost your job, if you're one of the 40 million people that are out of work thanks to this pandemic, well, that's okay. Just go and find another one. Just get a different job. Just get a new one. Just try something new. Let them eat cake of this administration. I mean, it's ridiculous. We are now the worst country in the world when it comes to the COVID-19 crisis. And guess what? The fish rots from the head down. So yeah, all these different packs, fire away. And I hope Trump gets triggered as hell because of it and then decides to impotently rage on his increasingly demoralized staff. It's really kind of the best kind of revenge right now. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.